I think I had this fear of being trapped in the car in a snowstorm for days, and I didn't want to run out of food.
I just got back from my first winter car camping adventure, and I brought way too much food, to the point where it was actually difficult to even move around in the car. So let me unpack this shiz show for you and demonstrate what not to do when packing food for a camping trip.
We are back. We, the row, we, you and me, and Piggy and everybody, Carmen, Quartzy, we're all back. I just took a shower. It felt amazing. And the first thing I need to do is get the food out of the car, because around Tahoe, you just don't want to leave food in the cars because bears. Now, I know they're supposed to be hibernating in the winter, but sometimes they wake up and they go looking for easy food. So no food in cars. I am floored by how much food I came back with, okay? So when I went on my month-long trip last summer, I brought a bag of food like this size, okay? And when I came back, it had a couple cans left in it and some rice-a-roni, all right? Well, I came back this time and this bag is totally full. I've got multiple cans of soups and chili and meat and cheese, because I don't know, I guess you need cheese. For courtside, I had heard about the animals, so I packed all this food in here and came back with so much of it. I have an entire bag of teas. I think I drank one. I came back with, let's see, let's make this neat so you can see the full effect of my craziness here. I brought cinnamon. I was going to use it for my hot chocolate and my coffee, but I never used it once. These are teas I had from last summer that I didn't use, and some condiments, which I never opened. I brought some crackers, which I never used. I brought all these pecans that I actually had last summer and never used, and I still never used them. Oh my gosh, rice-a-roni, that was also not used last summer. These chewy bars, I ate them all last summer and brought back these 2 coffee pods from Montana, thinking I would use them. I don't know why. I didn't use them. They just took up space. And oh my God, check it out. There's more teas. In fact, Good Earth tea that I was like looking to buy in Palm Desert and couldn't find. How much tea does one person need when they only drink 1 bag every 2 weeks? And then also using these bends. I mean, it's great for that peace of mind, like the, critters aren't going to get into them. But you can't pack them as efficiently as you can a loosey-goosey bag like this. So, came back with all of that. Then I had another one of these, for the critters.
I made 3 big mistakes with food on this trip, and here's number 1. Using this camping trip to clean out the cabinets. We had accumulated a lot of food in the back corners of our cabinets that was getting old. Things like mostly eaten bags of rice, couscous, some extra cans of chili, soups, tuna, and other canned goods that had been sitting around forever. So I used this opportunity to pull out a bunch of that stuff and kind of willy-nilly thought I'd make meals out of it.
Snacks for the road. Never ate them. I think I had this fear of being trapped in the car in a snowstorm for days.
Mommy, not in a car, trapped.
And I didn't want to run out of food. I just overestimated severely what I would need for 2 weeks. But let's continue, shall we? Here's this bag. It is full of food.
Number 2, overloading at the grocery store right as you leave town. I was headed to Quartzsite, which is surrounded by desert, and I'd heard that the produce selection there was bad and expensive. So I thought I'd buy all my fresh goods for 2 weeks to save money and time. The other factor at play here is that my dear sweet hubby is a discriminating eater, aka picky, which meant this was my opportunity to buy and prepare food that he would never eat. And yeah, I guess I went overboard.
Ah, yes, these sun-dried julienne cut tomatoes. This was for the pasta basil dish. Never happened. And this, I don't even know if this is good anymore. No, actually still looks good. This is some flatbread that I made before I left, and I did eat one of them, but not the second one. All of that came back with me. And there's more. Mostly eaten, but still a significant amount left. Shh, don't tell Ted. Oh, my olive oil. I did use this a lot, so I would bring it again. Of course, it froze. My wasabi peas, I did finally break into these, so those were a win. Of course, my Montreal steak, huge win. would bring it again. Ah, yes, these are my leftover salad topper packs from last summer.
Number 3, not carefully planning meals. This really ties the last 2 points together. When I walked into that grocery store, I already had a big bag of miscellaneous canned, dried foods and some fuzzy ideas about what to do with it. But I kept seeing things that I couldn't normally eat that looked good. And then with my whole, what if I get trapped in my car in a snowstorm for days mentality, well, I just kept adding more and more food. Yes, a little extra is good for contingencies, but 2 weeks extra is just way too much. So plan your meals. Even if the grocery stores where you're going are smaller and more expensive than what you're used to, having to pick up 1 or 2 extra things is good for the local economy, and not having a food explosion take over your car for the duration of the trip is worth it.
Because if you recall, I did buy some chicken and I was thinking I was going to marinate it, but that never happened. And some Mott's applesauce, which I obviously didn't open. And then there's this entire cooler full of stuff.
All right, little igloo, what are you hiding?
Oh my God, look at all that food. Okay, first of all, we have 2 hard-boiled eggs left, and the package is all wet because the trash compactor bags, both of them, must have had a hole and the ice block started melting, and there's a pool of water down there, so they did not work this time. I don't know why. They worked perfectly in the summer and not the winter. This beautiful steakhouse onion cheese, never had it. The beer, of course I'd bring the beer again. And oh my God, I had 2 beers in here. Oh, this looks nasty, but I'm sure it's still good. It is the basil pesto sauce that I was going to use on the pasta. Oh my God, the chives. They are also swimming in water. Ooh, I used a lot of them, but not all of them. And oh yes, I don't know why I thought I needed so much chocolate with me on this trip, but Toll House cookie chips, don't tell Dad. Never broke into them. And yes, I think this is the last item.
Thank God, thank God.
Radishes, I love radishes. Oh my God, they're dripping everywhere. Never touched them. So look at all this food I was carrying in my car for no reason. It took up so much space. The cooler was always full. The back was full. And then I had to have 2 bags in the front seat at all times, which meant I couldn't really access my snack bag because it was covered with food. And it was it was so unnecessary. I was literally thinking I might get stranded in the snow, like buried alive in my car for days, and I wanted to be set for that.
Got trapped in a car trunk for 3 days.
Next time, I need to be a little more realistic about this stuff, and I didn't eat out that much. I mean, on the first night, I had a McDonald's hamburger, and then toward the end of the trip, I had a lunch, and the next day I had a breakfast. And that's it. The thing about it is that the car was so overloaded with stuff this time that it made the experience less enjoyable because I was constantly having to move all this crap around. There was a point, maybe around day 5, 6, I was kind of depressed about it. Like, I can't live like this, because it was just like a freaking flea market yard sale all around me all the time. And I spent so much time just moving stuff around to get to other stuff. It was ridiculous. I guess it was my first time winter camping, and I didn't really know what to expect. And I was traveling to areas, beyond Atlanta, going down to Quartzsite, I would be going through areas I wasn't familiar with, and then coming back through Sedona and Flagstaff. I know it snows up in Flagstaff, so I didn't know what kind of conditions I'd be going through there because I can't predict the weather. So I was prepared, but it was a little over prepared. Ridiculous. I think that's a key lesson learned for me, is that I need to bring less stuff, and I need to be less afraid of being caught in a snowstorm because it wasn't that bad.
Next time, I'm going to share my 6 top camping luxuries that are totally worth the cost. And if you'd like bonus behind-the-scenes content, consider becoming a Schmayan supporter. Click the join button below to get started.